Alrighty. Alright, let's go. The basics of Python. So, first of all, just what is Python? Python is a high-level, general-purpose, interpreted, object-oriented programming language. It's also like every coding language that has... So, Python, like every coding language, has a very specific syntax that must be followed. And we're going to go over these syntaxes and go over what they mean and how they're used. So the print function is basically how it sounds. It's just it just prints whatever you put inside of it. So you see how it has print and then the parentheses, whatever you put in those parentheses, when you put print in front of those parentheses, um that will whatever you put in those parentheses, once print's in front of it, whatever is in those parentheses will print out. The string syntax, that is used for any kind of like word you want to put, but it has to be in quotation marks. We can insert a string using quotation marks as it says here. And this is an example of a string in Python, hello world. And we'll actually go over this when we get to the live coding examples. It'll be the first one that I show. Just showing the print function, how it works, and you'll see that this will actually print out in the terminal window when we get to the coding examples. So this is all the string syntax is just quotation marks and then some words, maybe a comma. You could even use numbers. So the int syntax, this is a little more important if you want to use numbers because this is actually int actually means integer. So int equals 3. So now your int variable these are also syntaxes are also known as variables. So your int variable is holding that value of 3. And this is very important when it comes to coding, as you need a variable to hold a certain value in order for your code to actually work. So the equals syntax. This is something that can get very confusing for beginning coders because they want to automatically think that it means equals. The equal sign is different from when you're using math. When you're using this signal right here, you're not saying that this equals something. You're assigning the variable or integer, string, etc. to a value. That's the like when I go back to no, wrong thing. Going back to this, when I said that um int equals 3, the oops, my bad. Int is being assigned to the value of 3. It is not equal to 3. It is being assigned to the value. So this is holding the value of 3. It's not saying that, it's not saying that int is 3 and it equals 3. Like, it's saying that it's holding this value of 3. Very different. And if you want to actually test for equality, you must use a double equal sign, which looks like that. All right, so variables. Variables can literally be anything. Like I said, you can use int as a variable. You can use your name as a variable. You can use X, Y, Z, A, B, C, anything. You can use anything as a variable, and a variable is a placeholder for a value. And you can see it being written like there's the example x equals 2. So x is being assigned to the value of 2. The input function. So the input prompt is a way to get the user to say to to get the input from the user. Like you want to get something from the user, like whether it be a number or a name. Using the input would be a good way of doing that. And this is a perfect way to actually um, give an example of the input function. So answer, the variable answer is being used to hold the value of whatever the user will input their name as. And you can use this. This is actually kind of more of a C-like syntax with printf in there. Usually in Python, you just use print, but print hello and then answer like this. So when it's already in since it's already in parentheses, using brackets will give you a better way of putting in your variable instead of having to put in hello and then whatever their name is that they enter. Well, if you just put in a random name instead of like enter like this, then it's just gonna return what that name is. You're not gonna get whatever name answer is actually holding. So doing it with these brackets will actually give you the answer. And you'll see this as well when we go to coding examples. We'll revisit this. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the actual coding examples in VS Code. And like I said, we're starting with Hello World, the little simple. I'm gonna kind of add to it here, just a little, change it up a little bit. But like I said, I'm gonna clear the terminal as well. There we go. So down here is the terminal window. This is where you'll see everything printed out, the results of your code and everything. Yes, I have a lot of stuff over here. In fact, I think I can just close the Explorer. Yes, perfect. All right. So if we go ahead and we hit this little play button up here, that's going to run our code, and you'll see that it prints out hello world. Pretty basic, pretty simple. That's all it actually really does. Doesn't do much more than that. So we want to move on to a little more advanced. Like I said, we come back to this answer. So this is my answer.py, and you can also tell that this is a Python file by looking at it. It says .py. So these are all Python files. And you'll see that the F has actually been removed, and you'll see that this still works the way that it should. So we have our answer, and then we're going to be prompted for an input that's going to ask us what is your name when we hit the run. All right, see there it is. What is your name? Say, and boom, there it is. Hello, Tyler. And you see also I don't have brackets in there, but you can actually use commas as well to separate a string from a variable. So you can actually you just put a string here, but make sure you end the quotation marks wherever your string ends. And then you can place a comma and then type your variable. Another big difference between C and Python is that C you have to have a semicolon after everything. Python actually eliminates that, and the print function is also a little different. The print function, instead of print, is just print F in C, but in Python, we got rid of the F, it's just print. A lot more basic English than C. C's a little more complex, but Python's very simple and easy to understand. And now, this one I'm going to spend a little more time on explaining because it brings in something it brings in something different. So we have the input functions up here, and now we're bringing it down to this. If p is less than e, print p is less than e. So what this is saying, these are called if statements or if else statements. Could also be known as if else functions, but statements is better to kind of call them by. So what the if else statement is, and this elif down here, that just means else if. It's like a combination of else and if. So how these work is they test if the value of p. So that what this one will test is if the value of p is less than e, then it's going to print out this, and it's going to give us our numbers that we enter in for p and e. And now, if this turns out to not be true, then this will not print. It's going to move on to the next one. It's going to say, okay, well now, um, if p is equal to e, and you see I use the double equals here, if p is equal to e, then it's going to print out this. But if this does not, turn true, then this will not print, and then it's going to move on to this. and it's going to say, okay, well, if this isn't true, and this isn't true, then this must be true. So that's how these if statements work. If this is true, then these two do not, then there's no need for these two to be tested. This top one will print if it is true. If the middle one is true, then the top one will not print, the bottom one will not print, and just this middle one will print. So I'll go ahead and I'll show you this running. And we'll do 3 different tries to show you that they actually do work. So enter in a number, okay. Well, let's go for the elif statement first. So we'll say 5, and we'll enter. Okay, it's gonna say ask for another number. Okay, so we'll go ahead and also enter in 5. 5 is equal to 5. See, there it is. We have we were asked to enter a number, we said 5. Okay, so now P was holding in 5. So then it went down to enter another number. We also entered 5 as well. So now E was holding the value of 5. So then it went down to here. It said, well, is 5 less than 5? No. All right, so move on. Is 5 equal to 5? Yes. So print out this. And then terminate the rest of the code. So there's no need to run any more of the code. If we run it again, now let's do the else statement. Let's get something that's greater. So we can do 9 and 3. 9 is greater than 3. And you can see, so again, it went through these. We entered in 9 for P, we entered in 3 for E, and it said, is 9 less than 3? No. Well, is 9 equal to 3? No. So it has to be 9 is greater than 3. This is the only option it has left. And now, if we do the top option, we'll go back to 5 for the first number. We're wanting it less than, so we'll enter in 9. 5 is less than 9. So again, we have our numbers being entered in here, and it comes down to here and it says, is 5 less than 9? Yes, it is. All right, print this out. No need for these other two down here to be tested because we already found our answer. All right, and that's pretty much all the basics that Python offers. I don't want to go into too much because if I go into that, then it's going to be a little more complicated. So that's all I really have to show.